Join us as we share our experiences, strength, and hope. When the world says, give up, hope whispers, try it one more time.
What's going on, Recovery fam, and welcome back to Sharing Our Stories. My name is Slim with Nani Al-Jalil, Tomas Hernandez, and our guest, Rainbow Griego from Denver. And if this is your first time checking out this program, well, welcome. Thank you for being here. And Sharing Our Stories is a program all about addiction and recovery. Everybody in this room has dealt with addiction to drugs and or alcohol, and we are in our recovery. And we like to share that, yes, recovery happens. So if you, a friend, a family member are dealing with addiction, we want you to see that, yes, recovery happens, and spread a little hope, spread a little inspiration, and spread a little strength out there to you. So welcome to the program. Tomas, welcome back.
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I know you're tired, man, because you were working so hard.
Yeah,
I can see the look on your face, a man who is traveling from state to state, doing way too much for a good cause.
Yeah, you know, it's when you get on a national level, and I've said it before on the show, it just it wears and it tears. You know, like you got to balance and compartmentalize your lives in different places.
Taking some time for your own self, for your own mental health, for your
for you. I could say yes, but a lot of stuff blends, so it's like you got to figure out that art. Like I just picked up a new sponsor. Getting back up in the steps because it's like it's a reboot of things. You can live like, how do I put it? You got to compartmentalize your recovery, your personal life, and the needs of others and your business. And a lot of times when you get into it, there's no choice for it to blend because you just got to get into it and figure it out. So by the time you figure out that you got to start separating things, you're tired as hell. And I'm in the motion of making sense of everything, and thank God I ain't made the whole world mad in my personal life, and there's always a get back to those situations, you know what I mean? But
Nani, is this man overworked or what?
This man works.
Yeah.
He puts in a lot of work.
Yeah,
yes.
I do. You know what I mean? It's not just Tribe. I have a couple other business interests that I'm the owner of. So, it's, you got to put on one hat, snap on the other one, do this, that, and then new positions you got to learn. When I'm here, I got what I've built here. But when you're in Las Vegas, I'm just Tomas. They don't know me who I am. I'm just this mysterious guy
That's why you're growing your hair too.
Yeah. So I'm just this mysterious guy that shows up in a murdered out Cadillac and talking about hope and dreams and stuff. And then just opened a treatment center under everybody's noses, and then all of a sudden had the mayor there, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Who is this dude?" You know what I mean? And it's still not. Even if you do miracle work like that and put up, you still got to show up every day because it's just like recovery. Everything is a maintenance and trying to get that across the line. Fortunately, I got some great people that are there that are, I just met these people. I just know them. So, they're supportive. But, my main infrastructure of support teams is in Colorado, because that's where I'm from. Those are the people that I know, 24/7. Not to say, anybody that I know in Las Vegas are great people. I've set myself a good foundation of friends that are becoming family that support me, that hold me accountable. You know what I mean? I don't look at those lights and all that stuff. I don't ever want to use again. I know who I am when I use. I'm too much sober and clean. Yeah. like I got this certain way of living. I'm a lot for, I'm not a 9-to-5er. So anybody that's in my life trying to fit in the situation that I'm in, it's really hard. So that's the balance that you have to get because, I'll be a blink of an eye, I'll be on a plane. And that's been my whole recovery. This was even before, when I started Tribe, that's what I did. I jumped on planes to help people. I had a summer backpack and a winter backpack, and somebody would call me for intervention. I'd jump on the plane and I'd be out. And I'd be in Florida, I'd be in Texas, I'd be in LA, I'd be in Boyle Heights, I'd be in, all the way up to wherever the hell. I was in South Dakota at a cigar shop waiting for a kid one time, he was around the corner just scoping the motel that he was sitting there. So happened to be a cigar shop right there just smoking and waiting for him to kind of walk out his room where his mom booked his room at. It's like, but it's still, to long story short, it's taking care of myself. I'm getting better at it. I'm tired.
Yeah,
come
on. That's my whole point here.
Yeah.
Tired.
I just got you tired.
That was like the 5-minute version of Tomas. You're working
Well, I could be
really
like,
hard
I'd be like,
and
yeah,
you're
I'm tired, Joe. What's up?
Yeah.
I'm tired, yeah. You
But
got
I just
it.
expected, all I
You
expected
got
to
it.
hear was,
Yeah.
putting in this work to
You can start
expand
speaking
tribe
Spanish or
recovery
something
homes
so you can
and
understand
help
it in
these
Puerto
people.
Rican. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to do. Yeah, I'm tired. You sound like some NFL player, some freaking hip hop. Like, yo, tired, yo, tired.
Well, I figured it was all the hard work. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself as you continue to expand tribe recovery homes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, I may be tired, but I'm not tired of that.
Hell
Yeah.
no,
You know what I mean? I'm on it. That shit happening.
Did you?
Oh, sorry. There goes the bleep.
All right. 6 minutes in. First curse word. All right.
Nailed it.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
All right. So, our guest today for sharing our stories is Rainbow Griego. And Rainbow was supposed to be our guest how long ago?
It was about a month ago.
About a month ago?
Yeah, about a month ago.
And Griego didn't make it because
Leilani Shalom decided to bless us with her presence.
you had a baby.
Yes.
Literally, the day she was supposed to come in and speak with us was the day that your baby was born.
Yes.
That's
That morning.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I called and I'm like, oh, shoot. Let me let her know.
Yeah.
I will not be there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad you're able to make it now. Your baby is around the corner
Yes.
with Lonnie, your man.
Yes.
Yep.
My
Shout out to both
husband.
of them. They're over there. But this is all about you today, and this is about your struggles with addiction and your recovery. So we want to thank you for coming in to share. I know that you're at 7 years.
Yes.
7. Me too.
Ish.
High five. 7-ish.
High five
That's
to
right.
that one.
That's right.
7 years is
Yeah.
a big deal.
It's huge.
Yes,
Definitely.
big deal.
So awesome. So we're going to turn this over to you. This is your program to share in your life. And Mile High, our guest today is Rainbow Griego from Denver.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rainbow. Here because of my lovely friend Nani, who invited me here. And so a part of my life is addiction. Let me go back, way back to my childhood because, I grew up with trauma at a young age. And then my mother leaving, I was raised by my father, who was also an addict. So it was not an easy childhood. Of course, I went from this little young girl into the streets thinking that was it was my cover up, from my pain and everything that I was feeling from the trauma that I had as a child. Started using at a young age, 11 years old. Weed, acid. Dealing started, was a part of that. I was dealing acid in middle school, thinking that it was cool at school, tripping in class, those days were crazy because, I was able to handle that, but you start handing that to people and they can't handle that. And then you're like, I gotta go. Bye, where do I go now? So once I got into alcohol, that changed everything. Things started to get every week, even we were throwing parties and drinking all the time, thinking that was cool, and progressing from just drinking to doing lines. And
So what part of town you from?
I'm from the west side of Denver.
All right.
Baker neighborhood.
Okay.
Went to Baker Middle School, went to West High School. Didn't last very long there.
See, that's why we need you at Tribe. That's where we're at.
Okay. The wheels in my head are already spinning, you know.
We're at 12th and Mariposa.
Yep. We dropped somebody off there not too long ago.
Right.
Good.
You know.
Yes, keep them coming.
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle out there. Once
it
you
is.
get into that cycle, it's hard to get out if you don't know you have support or where to go when it's there, you know. And that's a part of my whole life, just being in this life that you think is cool, using, selling, going out, drinking, clubbing. You know, you get caught up in this lifestyle. And once I started selling drugs, I had a reputation to uphold. So when I started using, it was not like, hey, what's up? You want to get high? You know what I mean? It was like, I'm going to go make my money and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to be stuck all night. It was just an awful thing. I didn't want nobody to know that I was using. It was a very shameful time of my life. Even though everybody was doing it, everywhere I went, somebody was using something, some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And so, started with coke, went to meth, and that's when I really lost myself, lost my kids, broke relationships with my family. Even though I didn't like subject them to my addiction, there was no trust, you know. Like if I was, because I got high, if I was going to go in, was I going to steal? Was I going to take from them? No, not really. I had my own money. I did my own thing, but it's just that label that addicts get when you're getting high, you know. It's, who are you going to steal from? Who are you going to hurt?
Yeah, and you know, it's a simple fact. What's funny is in that, you know, my family's from the same culture, and it's everybody has a level of addiction. So alcoholics are better than cokeheads are better than meth heads, and they have their own little way of battering, and the stigmas are inside of us while we're still using, and all of us are using in our own way. Mm-hmm. And it's that blame factor, and it even splinters even more and spirals, and it's really confusing when you're young. So I feel what you're saying on that. You know, I could just kind of feel it in your story of, you know, coming home and like you got a pocket full of money and you're like, man, I don't need your like broken phone. Like, what you talking about? You know what I mean? But they still will profess that you stole it. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, and my dad was an addict my entire life. Thank God that he is 15 years sober. But when he got sober, he was God Almighty. And you know, it was so bad that what I was doing when my whole entire life I waited for you with broken promises and hard feelings and moving around and living with family members because, you know, he was locked up. But when I was getting high, it was like the end of the world, you know, and it was way different. My kids didn't sit at the bathroom door waiting for me to come out, you know. Granted, like, I took time away from them because weekends came, they went with family. You know, they were over here, they were over here. They didn't see me in my addiction either, but that didn't mean that I didn't still hurt them because I was taking away my time with them instead of spending time with them. Okay, they went to school, they were honor roll students, you know, they did good and this and that, but came tonight, it was mommy's time, bye, I was out, you know, and that was still hurting my children in a different manner than what I was hurting. And so
isn't it crazy how we become the generation of generational drug use in gangs and everything like that? We learn these things, these mechanisms inward so young that it just becomes second nature to use them.
Yep.
And before you know it, you have no idea that you're using this very thing that hurts you.
Yep, exactly. And when you realize that, though, is like the best thing is because for years I was like, I'm not an addict. I'm a functioning addict. I get up every day, I go to work, I take care of my kids, I do this, I do that. But yet I'm still an addict. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, I'm still using, I'm still hurting my kids, I'm still breaking relationships, I'm still isolating, I'm still holding that guilt, that shame that keeps me in my addiction, that says, hey, you know what, I'm going to take my F it all pill and I'm going to, I'm going to go over here. And acceptance is a huge part in your recovery. You have to accept that you're an addict. You have to accept that you need change. You have to accept that change is going to be hard. And,
And that change is possible too.
Yeah.
You have to accept that change is even possible.
yeah,
Right.
because for years, I was lost in my addiction for 10 years, deep in my addiction. And I used to always point the finger, blame this person and that person. Oh, I was in this relationship, but I still chose to put that pipe to my mouth, not nobody else. Even though the abuse and all the bad things that were happening in my life, like I was numbing, I was covering up, it was still my choice to get high. And so you have to really start wanting to dig deep and figure out, because for me, I couldn't get sober and stay sober until I started to get to the root of all my problems and find out that, hey, okay, I was hurt at a young age, but there's still people that go through life, that go through even worse things than me, that are still come out and don't use, don't get high, and are successful, but I didn't. And those were because of my choices that I made. I decided to stay in my pity and be like, I was hurt, so I'm going to go run over here and I'm going to get high, or I'm going to drink. It wasn't okay. It was just hurting my whole life, Drinking isn't any better than getting high, because that's our gateway.
You can still lie and have it in a martini glass to a wine glass. It's still the same thing.
Yep.
I've coached athletes, I've coached millionaires. I used to have this millionaire gentleman, God rest his soul. His binge drinking was just out of a crystal glass. I mean, this setup that he had was worth $10,000, that he would dump his death into. And he would sit in his office and he would hide it until he couldn't hide it no more. And then his wife would call me because he missed another dance recital, or he missed this, he missed that. And he'd just be laying in his office, and we would have to call family members because he would be in his own urine and whatever else, because he drank himself to that point of depression and everything. And, and that's what's crazy about it, because West Side, for the people that don't know that just got here, being from the West Side, there's not, it's a little gentrified now, but there's not a lot of money that was there. You know what I mean? So what you're doing with the neighborhood, you're sharing, you're doing things, is a different kind of culture. But it doesn't matter what culture you're in, because like the gentleman I was talking about, he had everything. Everything, and died of cirrhosis. Died in his car.
That's a terrible
You know
way
what
to
I mean?
die.
Died
Yeah.
in his car. Just, they couldn't find him for 3 days. You know what I mean? So with that being said, having that sickness, no medical attention, all that stuff, this is insidious. I did this post, insidious madness, incarceration, all these things of mental health and addiction that we don't understand, because it's the first time you see somebody use, or you see a domestic violence situation, or you see a fight, or you see something that's happening, you're imprinted by it. It don't matter how old you are. And then if you see it repetitively, and then you participate with the things that are happening, and you try to block and shade and all those things, we learn these mechanisms of lower self-worth and, aggression and all these things, and I don't know. I really resonate with your story, because with coming from those neighborhoods is why Tribe was born. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of help for us in places that, if you have, Native, Hispanic, Black culture, you know what I mean, or poor and white, there's not a lot of lot of help for us. We're told to go to work, told to go to church, and shut the hell up. You know what I mean? And if you ain't at like some outreach center and professing God like that, Jesus Christ, dude, and all that stuff, like I don't see it that way. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get on that. Don't worry. You know what I mean? I've been blowing the Christians up on this show. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been
Wow.
blowing the Christians
You
up on
have
this
a
show.
Christian right here.
Oh, my bad.
Listen.
I've been blowing them up. But anyway, with that being said, I'll let you get back to your story. But I just really appreciate that because women in recovery doing things that are right, you know. That's something that's very, very important for all of our listeners to hear.
Yeah.
You know, that was a hard place. Just I can see the house in the neighborhood, basically what you're talking about right now. I can see the parks, the streets, the alleyways, and the stuff that in the bars that were around there back then. You know, where to go, where we knew where to go, you know, and those places, you know, and you know, most of them are closed, but they opened up with different names, you know.
Yep. And the crazy part is I started drinking out in the bars and the clubs at 17 because my sister was 21 who looked just like me. So it was like me and my friend had sisters who were older than us. And so we thought we was just all that, you know. And that's when it was my alcohol, because, you know, I'm an alcoholic and an addict in recovery.
Yeah.
But I'm an alcoholic first, and then it goes hand in hand. It's not if, it's when. It always goes together. So, you know, we thought we was all that going to the clubs at 17 years old. And in the bars in the West Side, you know, starting there because we was too scared to go downtown first. But, you know, God, I could go, there's a little bit of everything in my past. When I got deep into, let's go to when I was in my first marriage. It was pretty bad, and that went from, physical, emotional, mental abuse, and that's when I landed in prison. And to be honest, I'm thankful that I went to prison when I did. For so many reasons. It saved my life, and if I would have went to prison probably 5 years earlier, I would probably still be in prison because I would still be fighting. I would still be a hothead. I still would be disrespectful, and I wouldn't have made that change that I needed to do to make in order to come out and be successful today.
Wasn't it that crazy feeling like when you knew the game stopped? When I was in DRDC, everything got quiet. I got thrown in my cell, and I'm in diagnostics. I have no idea where I'm going to land. Like, no idea. But it was so quiet. I ain't never slept that hard. From the county jail, from the street to the arrest, the lights, camera, action, helicopters are chasing you, handcuffing you, doing all the things that you do because I have to make everything animated, and I don't surrender that well. You know what I mean? So, high-speed chases, all that stuff. Then you finally get in the county jail, and you're going through that. Then you're fighting and trying to wheel and deal and figure out what you're going to get. And then you finally get sentenced. And then one day they come and pick you up and they put you in. You know, you got to bend over and cough and put the powder stuff on you and do all the different things to take pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then you get thrown in the cell. And I remember sitting there like, the game's over. I slept for like 12 hours straight, just out like a lamp. Because the whole game was just over finally. It was in the most terrible place of my life, but, you know, I still had years I was looking at ahead of me. But it just felt good that, like, when I woke up, I was like, hey, I need to make a change on this run. It was the third time. But I needed to make a change, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, that's when the embarrassment came in. You know what I mean? So, yeah, explain more on how, because you're a product of prison recovery. You know, you're a product of waking up through that experience. What was like that for you? And what was it in a women's prison was different? You know what I mean? That's what I've always been interested in, having somebody on the show to talk about. You know, Nani and everybody else can tell me pieces of what they've done on that, but like a real adulterated hey, I was in there. Nobody's really focused yet. What was that like to find yourself in prison to make that change?
Well, first of all, I was 36 years old and I was facing 24 years. And so I was like, my life is over. Like, this is going to be the rest of my life. And I couldn't believe it. After all the years and all the things that I had done throughout my entire life, at that moment, I would never in a million years thought that I would be going to prison.
Yeah.
You know? And in county jail is when I actually started to change. Still being the same person, still high, still acting up. I was in church and everybody around is jaw jerking and I'm like, how embarrassing is this? Like I felt disgusted. And so from that moment I started to change, like hanging out with the people, being in the mix, doing those things that I was doing, worrying about the wrong things. And so, but for me, when I was in that bus and I got to that gate and the gate closed behind me, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, this is real. Yeah. I'm here. It's going down, and there ain't no turning back. I can't run. I can't leave.
My name is what? 126444.
Yeah.
Me? Yeah, it's 126444. No.
Mine is 183055.
Now I got the old number. You know, my cousin Albert was 66666 before he passed away.
Oh my God.
That is straight sixes.
Dang.
Man, when I heard that, I was like, God, I just want to become Christian and throw holy water on him. Jesus, man. Jesus save him.
Yeah. And going in there, I think at that age, I was already ready for the change. So it was not as hard as it was for me if I would have went in 5 years at that age, you know. I had a different mindset, so my goals were different. It wasn't like, oh my God, because when I went in there, it was like a West Side reunion. I'm like, this is where everybody's been.
Right.
Whoa, what the heck? Oh,
Yeah.
Now when do I haven't seen
Yeah.
you? It was embarrassing, like, you
Yeah,
know?
so my friend Dennis Gonzalez, unfortunately, is back up in there. I walk in the chow hall, and I got this dude kind of buffed out looking at me, and I'm like, oh, man, here we go. So I'm already sitting at the newcomers table, you know what I mean? Because nobody's really put me up in the car. It's the first time I'm in. So he comes by, and he's smiling at me. I'm like, man, this dude, Dennis?
Don't
And he
take
was
the
like,
Snickers.
Yeah, exactly. So Dennis says, hey, man, come and sit with us. So we talk to the captain of the building. He gets me over the next month. I'm in the cell with him. And I remember we're sitting there just staring up at the thing and we're looking at our TVs, and we looked at each other at the same time. We were like basically said the same thing. Remember when we were younger talking about all those great things we were going to be? And we said at the same time how mother effing wrong we were, and just started dying laughing. You know, we're sitting there sharing a prison cell.
Yeah.
You know, we went to high school, middle school together and hustled and dropped out at the same time. And, you know, everybody's telling us it ain't going to go nowhere. Me and him are like, you're going to be a rapper. I'm going to be a promoter. I'm going to have $10 million in houses and businesses and construction and all this. And he's having his own little dreams and everything like that. And we ain't nothing but addicts sitting in a cell watching a TV that's clear as can be, about that big, and using our toes to change the channel. You know what I mean? Yeah. You learn how to use that like a chopstick. You know, just sitting there changing that channel, you know, but go ahead.
So being in there, you know, it's just a whole nother it's like its own world in there.
Yeah.
And I literally I was scared. Cause you know, you watch all these prison movies and you know, there's all these gangs and it ain't nothing like that really, to be honest. No. But it's what you make it. Of course there's fights. Of course there's still things that go on inside the prison that keep you lost and addicted and all that. But if you choose to do the right things, for me, I had to do all the mental health classes because I still knew that it was my mental health issues that kept me going backwards. All these thoughts that I kept telling myself, I ain't worthy, I'm no good, I'm a piece of, I won't do it
Good job.
for you.
Good job.
But you had the willingness to do that. You were willing to say, you were willing to take a look at those things. And that's that acceptance that you were talking about earlier that you had when you
Right.
went in there.
That's courage.
That's courage, right?
Yeah, definitely. You really have to dig deep into those traumas, because in order for you to get through trauma, you have to face it. And all those years growing up, in and out of therapy and counseling and all that, it would just make me more angry, because they're like, okay, wow, and they'd poke and poke and poke, because you have to face it. You have to go through that again in order to heal from it. And I wasn't ready. And when I went to prison, I was ready to sit down and say, hey, you know what? I was lost. I was addicted. You know, I made mistakes. I did everything that I said I wasn't going to do, by using and drinking and running off and stealing cars, and like he said, going out with the big bang, because I was going hard. I wasn't going home, so I was going
Yeah.
I was going hard. And that's the sad situation, is looking at it like, how do I fix that? You know, I had to think about everything that made me feel shameful and regret the things that I did. Because when we're living in the streets, selling drugs, doing all the things that we're doing, in our mind we're so cool and everything's all good, and you know, and it's really not.
It's not.
It's
You know,
not.
I memorized every person's name in my discoveries through everything, and I got thick books full of that stuff. And I would watch the news, and, you know, like even Perspective in Recovery, when I looked at it, because I would be like, yeah, they're part of this again because they're doing this arrest. But then when I got in recovery, I really thought about it, because some of them did some pretty violent things and got on probation. And, you know, a lot of laws are made behind these police officers. But then I realized, man, they fighting the same fight that we got, because they could have killed me that night. And the stuff that I was doing, high-speed chases, and the people I endangered and endangered myself, they had every opportunity to smoke me.
Me too.
You know what I mean? In recovery, I was destined to be in healing. Like, I'm back in the healing process now, 10 years, 7 months later. You know what I mean? I'm back in the healing process. You know, it's just, you know, I got to reboot. You know, so rebooting in prison, I feel you. Like, question I have is on the mental health with you're a woman in prison, you're expected from the neighborhood, you got family members that you've known for years and friends, all these things. What made you stay in it? And the day that you left, what kept you on pace?
To be honest, my faith in God. If I
Amen.
wouldn't have stood out of the mix and found my worth again, because being in my previous marriage, like, I was stripped of my whole identity. Like, it was so bad. And I wasn't able to do, like, you know, we won't even get into that, because that's
Okay.
just
Yeah,
kind of like
Yeah.
making it seem like it was all that person, and it wasn't. It was me allowing that person back in my life and stripping me of everything that I was, because I couldn't really be, because anybody I dealt with was a man, and that was not acceptable, because it was insecurities over here, abuse because of the insecurities and stuff like that. But finding my worth again and getting to the bottom of my problems and knowing that it was not okay, it was not my fault what I went through when I was a child, and healing from that is what really helped me. And then just educating myself, going in there, getting my GED, getting in classes. Like I said, I did all the mental health that was available to me. Came out with 27 college credits.
Yes.
Wow.
Got connected. Every teacher, all the people who were important that could get me in classes knew who I was. I was the one that was doing all the illegal moves. It's lunch, but I'm going up here. I'm going to go talk to this person. Because if I didn't advocate for myself, then I wouldn't have got where I needed to be.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares. And if I'm going to send a kite to my case manager, it's going to be, it's going to be when. By the time I get out, they'll send me a kite back the day before I leave. No.
Yeah, you got to learn how to play the game.
Yeah. So I really advocated for myself. All the main people who could get me in the important classes that I wanted to get time off my sentence. I ended up with a 12-year sentence. I did almost 4, so which wasn't too bad. I was super thankful for that.
Well, you put in the work. You know what I mean? That's how you got out.
Yeah.
You know, because
definitely had to put in the work.
there's people we all know get like a 5-year sentence, turn it into a life sentence because they don't know how to act up inside there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, and that's mental health and addiction. And that's, you know, when people get too far in the mix and you see them, those cannonballs. Like, what are you doing, man? Like you try to talk to them like, yo, calm down, homie. Go make a burrito, homie.
Yeah.
Chill out. What's happening here, you know? Because, like, on the men's side of prison, gangbanging's for real. You know,
it's
it's
a
not
whole different ballgame.
Yeah, and the women's side, men's side, that's for real. You know, race and gangs and politics and extortion. You know, it's nothing like the movies and all that stuff that they talk about other things. You know, that's because it's more flashier and whatever sexual or whatever you want to put it. No, it's when you in prison and you I'm sure you can contest to this. You become that can of carrots that gets passed around at every food bank. Yeah. People tend to forget about who you are. Visits get smaller. Sometimes you don't get money on your books anymore. You'll make that phone call and see if you got money on your phone, but you don't. You know what I mean? It shrinks and it shrinks. Then you find yourself writing letters and they become one-sided letters. You just writing just because you're writing.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, because nobody's really responding. It's not that they don't love you; they just don't have the time.
Yep.
You know, and they've lost the luster to it. And you show up one day and everybody's surprised at just, hey. How are you? What's up, man? What's new? I'm like, well, I don't know. 3 hots in a cot. You know what I mean? That's weights, craziness, despair, distortion. I've been in the hole since I got out. You know, it's good to see people. You know what I mean?
It's nice
got a key to the door. This is dope. Got a key to the door. All right. We in business. We got a key to the door. You know?
Well, life goes on. When we go to prison, you know, life goes on the outside. Yeah. And we're not the only ones doing time.
Yeah.
And we hurt a lot of people. And in the process, a lot of people turned their backs. I was super thankful that I can admit that when my dad in the beginning was like, I'm going to disown you if you lose these kids. I was fighting for my babies. And he said, if you lose these babies, I'm going to disown you. And I allowed my ex-husband back in my life. And guess what happened? I lost everything, including my kids. And my dad said he was going to disown me. And he turned his back on me. And then I was running the streets. And then I landed up in prison. But he was there for me.
It's good.
The entire time.
It's cool. We both got dads in recovery. My dad's got like 46 years in recovery. My mom was a hard love Catholic that lit the whole United States on fire with candles and novellas and yelling at me. But my dad though, he would just, it didn't matter what happened. And it got pretty bad at the end of the federal end. He was sitting in that chair with the same look on his face. And I didn't understand what it meant. Like, I go, why is this guy so calm and cool? And I finally had the conversation of why he's been sober for so many years. And then I got in recovery, and I understood. That's what I do today. When somebody's hurting, I just stay calm and cool as much as I can be, unless you, like, deliberately yelling at me or something, then I'm going to act up. But, you know, I try to stay calm and cool as I can. And understanding just like my father did. Because, I mean, he didn't drop a tear. He didn't break down. He just knew that I was an addict, a person in recovery. Not only my father, but somebody that needed to advocate for my feelings and know that I wasn't alone. Yep. I don't know if I could have done those multiple bids and been in all those courtrooms without that man. You know what I mean? My mom had to check out, and I love her to death, and she had to do those things for that, you know. But my father, every court date, didn't matter where it was at. Every visit, didn't matter, taking my daughter up to me. You know
Having
what I
that
mean?
one person who supports you and believes in you.
Yeah,
can just
and that
change
takes,
everything.
and it's a we program, right?
Right.
Yes.
It's a we program. We know how to heal each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we gonna mess up. Like I'm gonna mess up 8 million times this Sunday. You know what I mean? I'm still, you know, like that's that divine comedy of it. I was a piece of whatever for years, so I try every day not to be that piece of whatever. You know what I mean? So people don't have to experience that person that I used to be. But sometimes that stuff slips out because so many years of generational teaching and training, and I mean it's training. When you learning something, like when you think a baby's just kind of playing and ignoring the yelling, they're playing more and animated inside that thing because they're more concentrated on what mommy and daddy's got to say. You know what I mean? And whatever's happening, our cousins hitting each other, or learning how to sell drugs and learning how to like the cousins over there, and you just trying to stay close enough to figure it out, and how they drink and how they smoke and how they do it and what they do and all these things, and then before you know it, like you waiting your turn. It's not like experimenting. You just waiting your turn, and as soon as they look at you and they're like, bam, you're in there in a flash. And you got that beer down your throat before you even got it. You showing them that I learned from you and trying to get cool points and rolling that stuff. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's crazy to know, you know what I mean? And people don't know a lot. Like when I talk to people in Vegas about Denver, they think this is a cowboy state. Nah.
No, not at all.
Nah, you got the wrong place. This place is huge. And, you know, just because we have nicer buildings than an average ghetto place that's been beat up, man, you could have 8 Crips or 8 West Side GKIs in a house that's worth $500,000 because HUD got it for them. You know what I mean? Don't let the sticker mess you up. You know, things are going down still.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, right now we're very high on the murder rate. People are dying, you know, like crazy. People are getting shot like crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So sad.
It is. It's sad.
We just moved to Green Valley Ranch, and we lived downtown, and just in the homeless population, like the homeless camps were right. We lived right by Jesus Saved, and 4 people got killed in the homeless camps, you know, and they're their own little community. They don't snitch. They have the drug dealers, the prostitutes, the addicts, you know, and it's like a whole nother little thing out there. And just with that, people struggling with homelessness, like it is so sad. It breaks my heart. And it breaks my heart even more that you look out the window and it's somebody that I have a 21 and a 25-year-old, you know, and I'm like, God, I thank God every day that my son is not out there on that corner doing that. You know, they get younger and younger and younger, and their mental health is just
deteriorating.
Bad.
It's tough out there.
Gone.
It's tough out
Yeah,
there.
you know,
right
it gets cold, you know, in Denver. You got to you get desperate measures. I think that's the only reason why they get homeless, because like, you know, I'm not sleeping on no floor. I'm gonna use my creativity to get what I need, or I'm gonna go to jail trying. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to manipulate. I manipulated my way through every system possible to get what I need, you know, and it's crazy because, you know, I'm not saying I'm the guru of stuff. You have the same experiences and stuff like that. But 48 years old, when I look at somebody trying to game me, I get real quiet because it's like, man, I tried to do that at 92, yo. You know what I mean? That was what happened when my sister was doing that in 98. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, I've been young. I've been old. I've been middle. You know, I've been in prison. I've been in all this kind of stuff. And I'm not going to, like, give a teaching to somebody. It's just really heartfelt and depressing because you really don't have that answer. It's just that like-minded situation that you see it. And it kind of triggers and traumatizes you, and you know, because you could say the wrong things. And I've been guilty of saying the wrong things to people. You know what I mean? So just sitting back and being quiet, You know, and that's hard for me, as you know, on this radio station. You know what I mean? It's hard for me, but, you know, I got more questions for you. Like, so you got through it. You got through college. You got your kids back, right?
Well, no.
Okay, so.
Because I lost my kids and then I went to prison, so I lost the chance to, fight for them.
Okay.
And so really, to me, that was like the worst thing for me, that kept me most shameful, and like that was the one thing that held me down, boy, and kept me.
Yeah.
It put me in this place where I didn't care. Felt like I didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
You know, kept me in my addiction. So being in prison and wanting to change and not being in the mix and making the changes that I needed to do. So when I came out, like, that's all I need to do is be successful, so that way that when they do want to come and find me, that I'm a person that they want to be around.
Yeah.
Because if I'm addicted and I'm lost and I'm still running the streets and I'm still doing the same things that I was doing before, then they ain't going to want to be in my life.
Nope.
But
Not at all.
But you lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
So you said God is big, right? God is huge. God is
in my
everything. What is your recovery basis now? What do you do? Like, what? I've been hearing this Rainbow got pregnant. Rainbow just had a kid. Couldn't be on the show.
Hey,
but Rainbow, now she's packed. Like, you're like the Terminator. Now you're here like a day and a half later or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, first of all, one of the other things that helped me through prison is because I used to see how many people were that revolving door. And so one of my goals was to make change, to get out so I could go back and be that person for the women inside there. Because we make these connections inside prison, and when we get out, we don't get to keep them. Well, now they're changing that, so it's a little bit different. But I want it to be because of who I am. When I'm a recovery coach, and so I get to give back.
Yeah, give a shout out to who you work for. Make sure that they get the big ups for that.
P2P recovery and empowerment.
Love empowerment. I love them.
They do big things. They do a lot of good things in the community for women. There's so many things out there for men, and not so many for women.
That's right.
We need to build on that. So,
Yeah.
if I could change one life by being a peer recovery coach, then that's that fills my cup, and it makes me happy.
I think that needs to be entry level to everything to becoming in this field. You got to sit there and be a recovery coach first, because if you don't understand through coaching, or you're in a fellowship where you learn sponsorship and being a sponsee, and those are two very different animals, everybody that's listening. Those are two very, very different animals, two very different programs. But concepts of the bottom of the first days coming in and having somebody next to you, it's a very, very hard job she has. The average lifespan, career span of somebody doing 24/7 full-time recovery coaching is 2 to 3 years, because you just get burnt out.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah, you're burying a lot of people. You're seeing a lot of people regress. Yeah. You're seeing a lot of triumphs, and you can't wait for those triumphs, Like, sometimes I still got that hard time when somebody like, Tomas, you saved my life, this and that. It still kind of feels weird, like, you know what I mean? Cool, man. That's great. You know what I mean? How you doing today? You know what I mean? Just, it's being able to that ground level, and what P2P does and empowerment does in the inner city. They're two very different animals. One's, homeless, and the other one's, for the women inside the prison systems, LGBTQ plus, and a whole lot of different programs, and having buildings like Mariposa and a lot of stuff that's happening that they do great on, and it'll be a diverse, cultured situation to where you could be at the mercy of any type of human being in the city at any moment that you're assigned to, and you have to have that love and empathy. So, that's what was cool about hearing about your story. That was awesome. That also everybody speaks highly of how you're in the prison systems and how you speak from the heart about how to do things to get out and do it right. You know what I mean? We do not have that many women out there with those capabilities. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm telling your bosses I'm trying to steal you right now on the air.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Tell me a little bit about what you do in the prison system now.
So I started going back into the prisons when I was still in community corrections. And so that's a big deal because they're not really big on that. And so that was a big deal for me. I fought for that because going in there, and what I do is I just go and spread hope.
Yeah.
And show them, because people know me for selling drugs. Not a lot of people know me as an addict in my addiction. So when they see me and they see me in prison and then they see me out, then they're like, what are you doing? And how did you do that? And how did you get there? And it makes me feel good that them seeing me, instead of me being in the streets known for something negative, that it's known, now they see me as a positive and they want to do something different. And I could talk to them and say, hey, this is what I did. This is how I did it.
Yes.
And when you struggle, I'm here. Here's my number. You know, I write a lot of people. I send pictures. For those that don't have family members who ain't there for them, I get pictures from their families and their kids. And, you know, just that, like you said, that one person, Nani, that will be there and support them. And I tell them all, every single client I get, I'm like, first of all, I'm no nonsense. Like, I'm going to call you on your, I'm going to call you
real.
on your, because there ain't nothing you could do that I ain't already did, that I already lied about, or that I denied, or, you know what I mean? And if you can't be honest with yourself, then you can't be honest with me. And you have to be honest with yourself if you want to be successful. You can't lie to yourself and say, I'm not an addict, and then go over here and be sober and be something around these people, and then be over here with these people and going out and doing, you know.
It's the core resistance, you know. Like, I have this new mantra saying that I'm doing with all the participants that I got the coaches doing in Vegas, and I'm going to have them start doing it in Denver. It's basically, and you speak to it, Nani does, Slim does to a huge amount, because everybody knows who he is in recovery. It's, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want the environment to be a product of me.
That's huge. That's so deep. Deep.
And that's how we beat the stigma. And we ain't perfect. I mess up daily. But I do know, no matter what mistake I made, I can help somebody within a split second. I might help before people while other people hesitate. I'm going to apologize even when it feels like my ego should be shattered. I'm going to, you know, do what I need to do and humble myself in a heated moment. I'm going to try to do everything I can to take accountability for my mistakes. And those are those things in recovery that you're like, okay, I'm blown out right now. My family has nothing for me, and I've ruined that. What do I have for myself? You know, I remember yelling in the field at God like I'm like Robert Duvall in The Apostle. You know what I mean? I'm going crazy, like telling him everything. Like, you know what? You killed my friends are dead. Where were you at? You know what I mean? What happened here when I was on this? Where were you at? When I got shot, when I got stabbed, when I got this happening, when I overdosed, where were you at? And you know, at the end of the day, when I exhausted myself, when I was hoarse, I could just hear a voice in my head say, you're here, right?
Yeah.
You're standing in the field. You're here with the next chance. So humble yourself and know I'm here for you. Whatever you want to call me, God, Takashla, Wankatonka, Muhammad, whatever you want to label me as today, just know I'm your friend and I'm here. I'm here. You know, and that's the message of coaching. You know, there's a thing, you know, when you talk about spirituality versus religion, and you learn this in recovery, and you'll stumble upon it a million times. It's basically, it states, religion is for people that are trying to find heaven. Spirituality are for people that have been through hell trying to find peace. You know, I'm going to go with spirituality, because I'm trying to find peace, because I can make my own living hell in a $3 million mansion because I'm an addict. I could have it paid for with the lights and every bells and whistles and all the cars and clothes and whatever these commercials that want to drape you in all the gold and bigger gold and better and beautiful this and beautiful that and all that, but I could be in the mouth of madness because of my addiction, because I have no spirituality, because I've lost my way and I've done that. And that's what's great about programs and coaches. They'll be like, hey man, what's up? Like, I got to give out a shout out to Lasan Latif. He called me before I got to the radio station, and that's the same thing you identified. And that's people in recovery saying, hey, yo, man, I'm here for you. You look tired. You look tired, my brother. You look tired. If you need to talk, just call me. I can't lie about that. That's my mentor. That's the guy that I look up to. And he says the same thing about me, but we're always battling who looks up to each other more. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he's older than me, and he's done it. And he's been in there. But he was like, my brother, you're tired, man. You got to take some time for yourself.
You have to have a lot of people like that in your life when you're in recovery.
You
because
do.
For me, community was huge. Before, it was the streets and all the wrong people. But once I started to make connections and have my church family and people who, if I looked at your life, and this is what I tell my girls, if you have somebody in your life and you look at them and they don't have something that you want in a good, positive way, then they shouldn't be in your life.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, you should have good people in your life that are sober, successful, doing something that is something that...
And it's on the reverse, too. If you're not complimenting somebody else's life, you got to go ahead and give them that choice. Like, listen, I'm not really complimentary to your life, man. I'm a lot, because I have to do that quite frequently on how I live. Like, are you sure you want me in your life? You know what I mean? Like, because I am in recovery. I have mental health, addiction. I'm an entrepreneur in the things that I do, you know what I mean? Like, that's sponsees, that's people that you coach, that's people, you know what I mean? Even friends, you know what I mean? If you even, whatever relationship you're in, you got to, make sure that you check that temperature, because it's not all about your time, it's about their time, because their time can bleed into your time, and then both of y'all have no time for each other because it just doesn't work no more. You know what I mean? And you got to be conscious of those things, because we're addicts. We perseverate. Give me some more. Like, plane tickets. Like, oh, I can go on a plane? Okay, well, I'm going to go 70 million times. Like, I'm like preferred customer, triple platinum, blah, 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 blah. And I've only been flying for like 8 months. You know what I mean? They're Mr. Hernandez and me. I don't even, who are you? What you mean? How do you know my name? You know what I mean? But, with all that kind of said, like, man, like I said, as soon as you started talking, for the listeners out there out in the West and the North and the East Side, close your eyes and think about what this lady's saying downtown, and think about where you're at if you're struggling, because if you can picture her walking across the victory line and getting her life back, so can you.
Yes.
Yes.
It
is possible.
In the end, my daughter is my redemption story. Me and my husband, for both of me and my husband, we both come from broken families. Generational curses we're breaking with her. Mm-hmm. We're both sober. We get to do it from the beginning. We get to do it right. Yeah. We get to raise her right, teach her right from the beginning, and make sure that she's living a different life. I'm still have to mend and build my relationship with my other kids, but helping others
it's the best, right?
It's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling.
Yeah,
I love
somebody
being
got
a recovery coach.
Right. Somebody got a second chance. Sometimes you can do it monetarily. Sometimes you can do it, just with some help, and tell that person like, yo, I'm just helping you because I can. You know what I mean? Or I'm just sitting here and listening to you because I can, and I don't know how many times I've been yelled at by people that I'm coaching. Man. I just become the Emily number one. I'm like, okay, all right, get it out. Let's figure it out. You know what I mean? And it's but like that's the key to the frustration, because really, who are you yelling at? Mm-hmm. Are you yelling at me, or are you yelling at yourself? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And why are you yelling? And let's figure out what you need. What's the need besides the money part, relationships and all that stuff? What is your needs right now? You know what I mean? So listeners, think about that. If you're struggling right now, what is your actual needs that separate all family, all relationships, besides the one that you have with whatever spiritual path or you don't have? What are your needs right now? What's going to make you feel all right? And if you don't have an answer for that, that is the perfect answer to find a coach.
Exactly.
If you don't have that answer, if you're sitting there and you don't have that answer, you need to find help. Because I'm going to hold myself accountable. Because the other day, and family and friends asking me, are you okay? And I don't have that answer, I needed to go check back in with my people and start doing the work again. Even with 10 years in 4 days, 7 months, clean and sober, it still happens. I have no ideology of anything just for the day of using, because I can't stand myself. But that's not to say tomorrow. That's not to say the next day. That's not to say whatever. But if you don't have that answer right now, hear that. Multiple times I'm saying that. It's time to find help. And if you can't find a coach with P2P, Tribe, Second Chance Center, Encore, you know what I mean? All kinds of different places that we have out there. You could go basically into the library downtown Denver and find a coach. Right there, downtown Denver, that's the beginning of the coaching. That's when Quika started that whole movement out down there. Yeah. You know what I mean? All those types of things. You can walk into pretrial, they have coaches. You can walk into the AIDS Center downtown Denver, they got coaches. You can see what the mayor of Denver just did. They got yellow jackets on, walking around downtown. If you need help, look at that yellow jacket and go. I'm not going to start a joke yet, but look at that yellow jacket and walk up to that professional or that person, that volunteer, and ask them, yo, I need some help. But the biggest thing is also you got 12 steps.
Yes.
You can Google that quickly and get to a meeting. Get to any meeting. AACA, any A will keep you away from the DEA, the DA, and DOA.
I know, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
Stay away.
Mahai, our guest has been Rainbow Griego from Denver. We're running out of time, but real quick, anything you want to say to somebody struggling in addiction right now?
The first step is to loving yourself enough to say that you need help.
Amen. Loving yourself enough to say you need help.
And that's
right.
not easy, but,
Beautiful.
That's what you got to do.
That's right. Thank you so much, Rainbow.
you for
Congratulations
having
on
me.
your addiction. Oh, it's our pleasure to have you. Congratulations on being a mom again.
Wow.
Lord.
And and congratulations that,
Thank
because
you.
without that hard work on your recovery, that wouldn't be happening.
No.
So
Baby's lucky. The baby's lucky like I was. I never got to see my dad in that mix. My dad got clean and sober when I was 2 years old. I have no idea what that man looked like in those days.
That's a good
Today,
thing.
you know what I
that's
mean?
how your baby will grow.
I'm so thankful for that. That's
Awesome. It's wonderful.
a blessing.
Thank you to Rainbow for being our guest.
Yes.
Mile High, we want a quick thank you to Caring for Denver and the work they do in the Mile High to help people with addiction and recovery. Once again, this program is brought to you in part by Tribe Recovery Homes. If you want to reach out to anybody here at this table, please give us a call, 720-60-TRIBE. That's 720-608-7423. Or you can go online to triberecoveryhomes.com. Once again, thank you, Rainbow.
And you can put your application in there.
Rainbow can put her application in there.
Yes.
All right. Rainbow will be working for Tribe Recovery Homes. We'll be back
Pressure.
next week. Thank you so much for joining us right here for sharing our stories.